Hi friends, it's Audrey back for another Unpacking the Chaos episode. I told you in our last video we would be looking at the notion that your house is your business, so let's dive in. What do I mean by this? Your house is your business. It's basically a mindset shift. You move from being a victim of endless chores to an intentional CEO of domestic life, and it all begins with your mind. Your mind is the most important factor to productivity. For example, does your mind view the problems in front of you as a ginormous mountain that's impossible to climb, or simply like a puzzle that needs solved? If you have the wrong mindset, but all the resources in the world, you will fail. So, do you want to make that change? Do you want to become the CEO of home? If so, drop a yes in the comments and we'll keep going. In order to transform your home into a business, you need to define the roles. We're going to keep this very basic. In a company, you have 3 levels. You have the CEO, and then below them you have the manager, and then finally you have the employee. What are the duties of each role? Well, as the owner, you're in charge of big picture things, the vision of the business, the financial decisions. As the manager, you're implementing routines, you're delegating in order to execute the owner's vision. And then as the employee, you're completing the day-to-day tasks. Wearing 3 hats simultaneously day after day sounds exhausting, right? I mean, planning for that big purchase while scrubbing the toilets and also meal planning for the next week, that's too much. I completely agree. The good news is that's not how you're going to run your business. You are going to compartmentalize. You're not wearing all 3 hats simultaneously. There will be times where you're just the CEO or just the manager or just the employee. Now, even better news is you don't even need to try to split your time equally between all of these roles. I mean, think about companies you've worked for. How often did you see the CEO or the owner? Rarely, right? The CEO comes in, makes the big decisions, and then they're gone. The manager you're seeing more frequently, but again, not 24/7. They oversee operations, implement the systems, and then they leave it with the employees. The employees are the ones doing the day-to-day work. They're the ones in the trenches, but luckily the employee role is the most easily delegated. Let's use my parents to illustrate this. So my parents owned a store and my mom was the manager of that store. As the owners, my parents had a vision for the company, but my mom would implement the systems that their employees were to execute. My mom was implementing the closing routines, but she was not grabbing the rag out of the employees' hands and doing the work for them. My dad was checking the financials, but he was not ordering inventory each week or creating the work schedule. Now, sometimes my mom would have to put on her employee hat and stock the freezer, or my dad might stop by at lunch and run the register if the kitchen was getting backed up, but they weren't filling all 3 roles at once. Now let's try to use an example that might more closely relate to your life. Let's say you're going to be the owner. So once a month, you're going to look over the budget, any investments, maybe your son needs braces soon, or you need to start saving up for a second vehicle. Those are monthly, maybe twice a month tasks. You're going to wear your manager hat typically once a week. For me, I'm like the manager on Saturdays. That's when I meal plan, do the grocery run, make sure I've got the cleaning schedule implemented. I've got a super easy one, by the way, if you need it. It's called the 610 list. I'll leave it in the description box. You can also Google it. This is also when I'm going to make changes. Anything I noticed from last week that maybe was slacked on or something extra that needs cleaned, I'm going to make those notes either mentally or physically. And then those things will be taken care of during the week by the employee. And then finally, the employee is doing the daily tasks. When I'm cleaning the toilets, I'm not stressing about the budget. That was the CEO's problem, not mine. It is vital for your mental health and your productivity that you compartmentalize like this. And using the business analogy makes that compartmentalization so much easier to understand. So how do you make that shift? How do you convert your home into a business? Does it happen over time? Does it happen with a flip of a switch? The initial commitment into the CEO of home is an immediate switch, but the transformation takes time. It's organic and incremental. You don't become CEO overnight. You grow into the role through small, consistent changes. I'll give you 3 ways to start making this transformation. Number 1, you're going to change your mindset. It's not what you want to do or what you feel like doing. It's what's required of a business owner, of a manager, of an employee. Just like how an employee doesn't want to go to work, but they still do, you may also feel like you don't want to get up early to get ready for work. And by work, I mean home. Why can't you just sleep in a little bit longer? That's where the mindset shift is vital. An employee goes to work for fear of consequence or because they've made a commitment. When you're the boss, you're the only one that's suffering. The commitment and the consequence is missing. So that mindset shift has to happen. You have to have some level of discipline. You as CEO have to impose some expectations on your inner employee. You stop waiting for motivation, which is fleeting, and you start relying on discipline. This means you have to have hours. When do you open the kitchen? When do you shut down the house? It means you have to have daily tasks. Do you wipe down the counters every day? Do you fold the laundry? Number 2, set goals. What should each day look like? Just like my mom with her store, she would have clear goals for each day. For instance, the employees were to mop the floors every day. The shelves had to be restocked. So for your house, maybe it's the sink has to be clear every night, or no clothes are left in the dryer. Number 3, you need to develop systems to reach those goals. Maybe implement my 6-10 list, maybe my basket method, my unloading station. Whatever system is going to get you the result you're aiming for, it needs to be implemented. Okay, we've covered the different roles in the business of home. We've talked about making that switch. Now let's talk about delegations. Husbands, children, roommates, they should all be involved. And if you've made it this far, comment home. If you live in a home with other people, there should not be one person wearing all the hats. It doesn't matter if you have young kids, if you have a spouse that works and you stay at home, everyone should be helping. Now, if you're waiting for me to say, this is what you do and this is what they do, I'm sorry, that's not my place. I don't know your schedules. I don't know the ages of your children. There are just too many factors. I will say, whoever owns the home, apartment, etc., those people are for sure the co-CEOs. So I'll just give you some categories to take into consideration to help you determine who needs to be helping. They are capacity, competency, and efficiency. Number 1, capacity. Delegating who should do what has a lot to do with who has time available, who works outside the home, who takes on more of the childcare, who takes on the brunt of the mental load. These are things that the CEOs need to be talking about and coming to agreement on. It's important to note that each week could be different depending on workload. Number 2, competency. Once you've factored in capacity, move on to competency. Who does which job the best? Who can handle which job? Obviously, your 5-year-old employee isn't going to be scrubbing the oven or properly folding and hanging clothes. Now, I don't want to hear anything about, my husband doesn't know how to do this or that. That's not what I mean when I say competency. Anyone can learn, even your kids. As you start this process, you may have to allow a grace period, a training period, if you will. Start your kids off young as well. Hire your children as soon as they can grasp simple tasks like picking up toys and putting them in baskets. If you start them young, they'll be less resistant. Number 3, efficiency. It's better for someone to do a task that would only take them 30 minutes as opposed to someone else do that same task, but it take them an hour. Now, and I'm more likely talking to moms here, this does not include yourself. Someone who cleans more frequently is always going to be most efficient, but we are being successful managers and we are delegating. Efficiency will always improve with the person. Okay, still with me? If so, comment, keep going below. So we've talked about making the switch. We've went over the roles. We've talked about delegating. Now let's talk about some problems that can arise when we make the switch. Let's first cover getting your spouse on board. I always get asked about this, and my answer is always the same. Communication. Your partner doesn't know how you feel unless you tell them. And I mean tell them everything. How does your current home life make you feel? Are you anxious? Are you stressed? Are you often irritable? What is the goal with turning your home into a business? Talk through the points I mentioned, but make it personal to you. Point out the problems in your home that you can both agree need work. As with any good discussion, don't just come with problems. You don't have to have all the answers, but have ideas for improvement. It's actually better if you don't come having all the answers because it lets your partner feel valued and appreciated when they come with answers. Make sure to never use you statements, only I statements. It's not you never, it's I feel. And you need to make sure you come to any conversation, no matter who it's with grace, understanding, and humility. If you're angry, if you're irritable, wait to have the conversation. You need to start from a neutral place. Now let's talk about a criticism, if you will, of this, your home is your business philosophy. I had someone insinuate recently that by running your home this way, you're taking the love out of it. And I actually feel it's the opposite. When you live very spontaneous or unplanned at home, you are creating a recipe for disaster. A house thrives when you're proactive, when you have systems for the kids' backpacks and shoes after school, when you have a daily cleaning routine so the dishes and laundry aren't backed up, when you meal plan so you're not wasting food or spending money eating out. Now, those things are hard to stay on top of if you aren't disciplined or if you don't have everyone in the house helping. It's such a fast-paced world that even if we do live a slower life at home, it still doesn't change the environments we're all a part of, like school, work, extracurriculars. We need to be implementing systems at home. We still need to be delegating. We still need to be disciplined for our house to thrive. And how best to do that than by adopting this business mindset? Because my house has systems in place, we do the checklist, we take on these roles, we're far happier and calmer than if we lived by flying by the seat of our pants. Okay, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for being here. If you found this video helpful so far, please like and share it. You have no idea how much I appreciate you, truly. These videos are so much work, and knowing they help someone out in the world makes it so worth it. If you're still here, drop a heart emoji in the comments and we'll finish up really quickly. Finally, I just want to leave you with a few helpful tips to make this transition. First, the best CEOs will tell you there's nothing more valuable than knowing where to exert your energy, where to take shortcuts, and where to delegate. Take a look at my house. From the outside, it looks spotless, right? Well, it's not. My house is tidy, not clean. As the CEO, that's one of the things I gave up long ago. In a perfect world, it would be clean, but my time is better spent focusing on other areas, so I've accepted tidy over clean. I've embraced good enough. Perfectionism is a massive waste of resources. Instead of meticulously folding every piece of laundry, the good enough standard for me is just getting the clothes put away. And for me, that means chucking them into bins. Instead of bleaching every toy, my good enough standard is just wiping down high-touch surfaces. As CEO, I've embraced shortcuts and efficiency by automating or simplifying processes. I avoid time-intensive manual labor if possible. For instance, I use the basket method throughout the week. I use my dishwasher, my washing machine. If you want to run a successful business, you can't get bogged down on the little details. If you're focused on surviving the next hour, not defining what the home should look like the next month, then you're too focused on the micro and you need to focus more on the macro. Start thinking and acting like a CEO. Stop wearing your employee hat 24/7. And then as the manager and or CEO, make sure you're conducting reviews and check-ins to make sure your business is functioning as it should. Just like how businesses have performance reviews. This might look like you and your partner sitting at the table once a month and talking about how things are going. Look, when you shift your view from just keeping up your house to running a business, everything changes. You're no longer the victim of a messy house. You no longer look at your house as a never-ending mess that you're stuck cleaning up. No, you're the one in charge. Whether the business succeeds or flops, it's up to you. It's a powerful thought. You're no longer the victim, you're the leader. You're not just wiping up spilled juice on the floor, washing clothes, paying bills, telling your kids to clean their rooms. No, you're opening and closing the house. You're implementing the cleaning schedule, the daily routines, delegating the processes, handling the investments. You determine the future of the company. You are now CEO, so wake up early, set the tone, establish the schedules, enact the systems, take pride in what you have created. We have finally come to the end. Again, if you found this information helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. I love you all so much, and I will see you on Tuesday.